We have two groups of 65. I think Doxun and Goph the Great could be a lot of fun, in part because Goph has secured a whole bunch of large upset wins along the way. So I think Goph is the player at the round 1 level with the highest chance of throwing an upset. And he drew Doxun. Doxun, of course, lost in round 1 of Asia. So if there's a little bit of something going on. Also, Doxun's performance in the Dev Pro tournament seemed a little bit low. So if there's anything going on for Doxun right now, I don't know if that stress in the rest of life or whatever, or it's just a patch that's not agreeing with him. I think Goph is probably the biggest chance to throw a big name upset. So we'll take Goph. Welcome to round 1 of Weekend Tournament Americas number 70. We've got Doxun against Goph the Great. Doxun, of course, a great. Doxun has did the double in week 65, won back-to-back the Weekend Tournament Americas and Weekend Tournament European. Actually, in the other direction, Weekend Tournament European coming first, but took the title. Goph the Great has multiple big-name upset wins to his name, and has most notably beat Blue Hair, and is here as the far side with Rhino Specialist, Crawler, Tarantula, and starting right up on the line in an aggro formation. Doxun, of course, with a Farseer Specialist, has his Sledgehammers, has them kitted with range and mech rage, but field maintenance and armor. And yes, Mr. Krieger, there is in fact another tourney. 3 main tourneys on the weekends, along with that triple threat tricksters that we saw between. Alright, channel point predictions are up for this one. Doxun added a pair of marksmen for single targets to handle the tarantulas. Goph added a second line of crawlers, so has kind of early and late mid crawlers, but you can see the gap here. This is why I've been talking about the early mid crawler arrival timing mattering. You can see that on this side, Doxun's units cleared the first wave of crawlers. The marksman got the lock on the tarantula before the second wave arrived. Of course, that can be a good thing if your sledges get stuck on a big unit, but or your arc light or whatever. Machine Ninja Ware says, I think something is wrong with my house, as there has been a statistically excessive amount of baby lizards sneaking in. I mean, we used to have cats, and one of the... let's just say the cats were hunting lizards in the neighborhood. And it got to the point that I started to recognize individual lizards, because the cats wouldn't, injure them. They would just bring them in stressed, and we would let them out again. It's like, buddy, this is the 3rd time. Look, would you figure out how to hide from a cat? Nope. Dang cats. So here's one of the things Goph does that is unconventional but effective. Added Stormcallers to the push here. So it has Doxun, we've talked about this during the European tournament, has Doxun in a very static defensive formation, but it's not really moving very much. And that's perfect opportunity for the Storms to just rain down death from above. And as you can see, that has turned the round for him. But most importantly, his big spend here is 400 hit points of damage on the bar. It drops Doxun down to 3,300 with 4 200 cost units surviving. That's almost the maximum damage that you could do here on round 2, assuming, your chaff is living in some way, or isn't living. Doxun takes the Phoenix, and Goph went for, look, 2 Typhoons, right? The Phoenix, if it survives, is going to do 200 hit points of damage. And Goph's board is going to do an additional 600 on this. And that is part of what Goph has been doing that is really, really effective and changes the tempo from those boards that some of these top players are playing, which they're built for a long-term, round 8, round 9, round 10, they've come good and they're just going to snowball out of control. And Goph is willing to punish them. Of course, Doxun has the Farseer. Picked up a second one over here in the corner, hidden by the little units there. And that has some big range. He's hoping that can counter some of these things. He also picked up a Phoenix, so it's, Farseer, Phoenix, Phoenix, Farseer. For Goph, adding outside crawlers to do a bunch of pull here. And that's opening up a route to tower. Right? Very nice little pull here. It opens up this huge gap that he's going to try to exploit. And exploiting it with the Typhoons. Typhoons are tanky enough to take a couple of hits from the new Farseer. They do need to survive, otherwise the Phoenix are the only... Well, I guess there's a Fang in the back there. I don't think I want to count on that one Fang to clear all of this. Tower debuff, second tower debuff. Now we've got a Typhoon working on Phoenix. And yeah, this looks much more handleable for Goph's board. And again, we've got good damage being dealt. Doxun dropped from 3,300 down to 2,890. Goph's still at 3,880. Lost round 1, but has had a solid couple of rounds here. Doxun skipping Subsidized Storm. Goph took it. Willing to drop down 2 more. Has a Rhino Specialist. So this tempo is just going to keep accelerating against Doxun right now. Barring a big change. I would love to see Goph run the mobile beacon right here. Adopt the lizards. That could be the solution here. Please run the mobile beacon. You don't want to get stopped this way. Doxun throws out the sledges with Mechanical Rage. Picks up 2 more of them. So he's got those as the chaff clear. Goph is protecting his back line. He's invested in a Fang, Crawler, and Crawler back there. Still a little bit open on this last corner. Mech Rage is a great upgrade. The tanks will drive to their doom faster. They will also clear chaff much, much quicker. The Rhino without the mobile beacon doesn't take advantage of that opening that Goph was creating. So it's a little spot that Goph could make his overall game a little bit better. And it looks like all of the upshoot is going away this time. And Doxun wins round 4. Drops Goph to 30-40. Doxun's at 28-92. So all that tempo that Goph was piling on, all the pressure, kind of let off a little bit there. They're both at around 3,000. Doxun takes the Ion Beam. I mean, there is such a ionable formation right here. Ionable is a word, right? Goph took the heavy armor, puts it on the Typhoon. I might actually mean that Typhoon survives it. This is where Doxun has put the Ion Beam. And Goph is going to have... I don't think they survive this. They're going to have 36,000 hit points. Goph elite recruits a pair of Phoenix. Yeah, I think they're going to fly right to their doom, aren't they? Don't fly into the light, Phoenix. Don't fly into the light. Looks pretty hopeless. Doxun also picking up Phoenix, presumably for these outside corners. Not that there's anything single target out there, but they will turn and work on the Phoenix if it works. So the Ion Beam starts out with both of those new Phoenix. The Typhoon escapes it. The second new Phoenix actually overflew it. And the Ion Beam only cleaning up a single pack of storms. I'm firing my laser. Exactly. Yeah, there's not a whole lot left on the board for Goph. And Phoenix cleaning up from the air. And not really a great anti-air solution. Of course, we did have Phoenix stuck in the early Ion Beam, and then Phoenix versus Phoenix, Marksman, and Farseer was a pretty bold choice. It didn't last long. If they're going to last a while, they're going to need some range for sure. We get the unit drop reinforcement round. Doxun takes 2 level 1 Vulcans. For Goph, well, none of these are great, I don't think. What would I take? I might consider the Overlord. He's taking the Vulcans as well. Doxun buys a 3rd Vulcan. He's just going to put Vulcans on the outside, handle those flank crawlers, and then this one to handle the crawlers up the middle. And by the time that one's handled, he'll turn around and be working on Typhoons. Goph going with high explosive ammo on the Stormcallers. So really feels like he has a chaff problem. And to be fair, he does, right? Look at the board for Doxun. It's just, Doxun always builds such good chaff boards. With 4 back here, 4 crawlers back here, 2 fangs. These are in that position, the same position that Play Archer ran to European Championship earlier in the day. With crawler, fang, crawler up front. One of the Farseers is level 2 for Doxun. And he's going for the knockout, I think, with range and, or lone and range. Goph clicks the loose formation, so at least cognizant of the idea that there were Vulcans in the drop. He stacked both Vulcans together on one side, same side that the Phoenix are on, adds a late crawler to that very same side. And so really trying to punch through on the one side, get the tower, and then work right to left. He's got this opening. There's just no unit fast enough to get in there and take advantage of it. He creates the opening he needs. He's just not quite exploiting it. You can see how much of his units are still working on other units of Doxun's. He did range the Phoenix. They've kept themselves alive. They finally get the tower, but by then, most of the fight is late. So you can see how Goph is super close to beating these, or at least, winning this round, but to beating top-level players on a fairly regular basis. It's good to see his growth. But not this round. He drops to 464 hit points, Doxun at 2882. We have restarted the app, so we have a GG. We know this game is ending. I'll make sure we turn that off before the next round. We should also put up, we made this for exactly this. There's no prediction queue. We have the thank you for following instead. And that'll just stay there indefinitely. Oh, that shield somehow worked. The shield. Uh-oh. Well, maybe we should really turn this off now. Goph with the Slava Ukraina. Slava Ukraina. Teddy says he lost his game. My first rounds were perfect, but I still lost the game. I'm still too slow. Late game speed of decision making, probably more important than speed of click, but it's that time spent in the decision processing that can get expensive. And of course, getting really good at that makes one terrible, just awful at the remembering the rules of the part of the cards. Silly game that we play on our Fun Fridays. I don't think we played one this Friday. I don't think we played one yesterday. Well, Orbital in play for Goph, not taken for Doxun. but Doxun has both a Wasp and a Phoenix. These are kind of intentional to not pull any crawler that's flanking out there. The one Phoenix didn't draw a Phoenix response here. This Phoenix has flown away, abandoned its defensive duties. The flank Phoenix will get the job done over there eventually. It's stuck shooting... Oh no, it does not. It was stuck shooting the shield, so that was what they were talking about with the shield doing the job. But again, you can see Goph just needs to hit this tower sooner. An attacking unit straight on line with that, a steel ball arriving, a Phoenix exactly on line with that, would aggro to the tower at some point, rather than having the diagonal aggro. But you can see the result, the orbital getting a lot of work done. Doxun down to 692, Goph at 464. We're close. This should certainly be... Oof. Oh, that is a big nuke, yes. Sorfist says, and sledges lose again. Feels bad, man. I mean, as a sledge-loving channel. Yeah. Fair Lake, if you're listening to this, sledges are supposed to be the most powerful unit in the game. Crank them up! You don't think so? Fair Lake doesn't agree. It's going to be Launcher Overload to go with range on the Phoenix. For Doxun, I actually love this play. This is one of my favorites. Favorite little combos. Has got the range up to 170 meters, but they now shoot every 1.6 seconds. There's just about nothing in the game that DPS equivalents that. And unlike using charged shot, they don't overkill targets as much. They're so much more of that damage actually lands. The only time you really needed the charged shot Phoenix is when you're underleveled and fighting against a really big Rhino, underleveled and fighting against a really big Worm, perhaps, or fighting up against a War Factory. Most of the rest of the time, this is a better loadout for you. Goph with a pretty clever defense out here, a Fang and Shield to keep them alive for under the bubble there. Also protected his other side with the same sort of idea. Has trapped a whole bunch of units under the nuke, so gets a whole lot of value out of that nuke. Doxun not shielding it, and in a lot of trouble. That whole far side is down. It's up to the air war now. 5 surviving Phoenix against 4. It's these guys are stuck on Fangs. Down they go. Tower is down. And oh, Goph with the coup de grace was the shield on Phoenix, and Goph with the upset win over Doxun. We called it. We called it coming into this match. I said Goph is the player with the greatest chance of throwing an upset in this first round. We picked this match on purpose. He says, man, I just lost 200 MMR in 5 days, and then I beat Doxun. Dillo says, streamer curse, you did it to me too. Yeah, man, I don't think it's the streamer curse, man. Don't believe in it. Sacco has beaten Boatpile. CrossFit beat Hots. Yunashi Tianzin beats Drewski. Alright. Goph the Great beats Doxun. Huge round 1 win. CodiFly beats Mike Tyson. Cody playing under the name Mualani. And Godog over Sparty. Evil Coin beat our... I believe this is Iron Commander. Yep. Stony versus Yeswin Big still ongoing. We'll jump into that one in a moment. Dolmant beat Cheeseburglar. Huiberg over Miasim. Sunnyside over Alpha. Crag loses out to Stupid Vegetables. Mamara loses to Jeremiah. Mumbo Jumbo beats Rice. Nice win, Mumbo. Mumbo Jumbo beat Alpha Titan at the end of the European tournament. Gets a huge win against Rice. Nicely done. Armadillo beats Irwin. And Apooche taking his time finishing off Hobo Sage Poohbeard. Why, thank you, thank you. All right. Rest of the group. We had talked about the top half. Odds beats Frankie, Neo, a race car, Chat GPT Classic Post, 38 degrees Celsius, Etheric, Fedez, Cypher Shot, Dimionic, a 201 I don't recognize, D Unit, Ra Onlooker, EOZ, Syverin, Uncle Lazy, Austin 5151, getting a bunch of work done. All of them getting the round 1 wins. Jandrid had the bye. We have an odd number, Austin 5151, the 33rd's down. So Alpha, not to be confused with Alpha Titan. Alpha at 34th will be facing Sacco. That is likely to be our match here. Welcome to round 2 of Weekend Tournament Americas, number 70. Sacco near side, the number 1 seed in the tournament, facing Alpha. Alpha will be far side as the top, I guess I should say, as the spoiler, the top player with 1 defeat right now. Sacco takes the Farseer Specialist with Arclight and Steel Balls. I'd love to see what Sacco is up to with Farseers. Should be a lot of fun. Alpha takes the Elite Specialist, a chaffless Elite Specialist start with the Arclight and the Sledgehammer. Alpha coming off of a 8th place finish in the Americas tournament last week, this same tournament, and Sacco 13th place in Asia this morning. What round is this, Boom QC? This is round 2 of the tournament. We've got a 65-player tournament, so it's very likely to only go 6 rounds. Sacco starting right up on the line with Arclights in front of Steel Balls. Obviously added a pair of Crawlers. The Crawlers will be arriving late. He did not want his Crawlers to get into a head-to-head with the level 2 Crawlers from the Elite Specialist. Sacco gets the tower, loses the Steel Balls at the end of the round, but this is one of the things Steel Balls love seeing in Elite Specialist. They get levels. They get early levels, and Sacco got tower. Alpha at 5,500 hit points, Sacco at 4,250, but I'm pretty sure Sacco would trade that for this Steel Ball level. He's also got the 3-pack of Fangs as his drop. Both sides are lacking chaff, right? But they both started without chaff. They both unlocked Crawlers. This is one of the only ways that you get Fangs to show up, is if nobody has taken them yet. Alpha does not need chaff. Chaff is for losers. In fact, Alpha will unlock Fangs, having not bought them. Oh wait, buys one now. So, has a Crawler, has a level 2 Fang. Now, honestly, I feel like this is a pretty big mistake. I can see why he takes the Scorpion to try and handle the potentially leveled Steel Balls. He needs to stop these from growing out of control. They're at 9,000 hit points. The Scorpion will still one-shot them, so I can absolutely see why he wanted the Scorpion. But he's also feeding level 2 Chaff XP into this board. And for those of you that don't know, of course, Chaff, a pack of Crawlers feeds 200 experience, but a pack of level 2 Fangs is going to feed 600 experience. So, it's just the way that formula works. And that is going to help Sacco over here level more units. Over the course of the game, it adds up, right? Scorpion does get the round win for Alpha. Sacco down to what? 3424. Alpha still at 5500. Alpha, I think, took the single highest hit point packs available in terms of his starting comp. And Hail Kale, thank you very much for the follow. Yeah, Sacco sells that level 2 steel ball. He's given the level to the Scorpion. The ability of a Scorpion to one-shot a level 2 pack is really brutal. You know, to be able to level a pack higher than it. Alpha adds sledges. He's already got 2 on the board over here. He leveled this one, adds a level 2 sledge over here as well. Clever from Alpha on this side, adding a pair of level 2 crawlers, or a pack of level 2 crawlers, to rush Sacco's weak side tower, while Sacco, taking advantage of the fact that there's next to no upshoot on Alpha's board, adds a pack of Phoenix. There's really just the front fangs that are going to go down here. The other thing I like about what Sacco has done with the front line is his very front line is fangs. If in the end game of this, end of this game, in-game stage of this one, he needs to ensure that his front line chaff does not get missiled out, he would be able to throw down the very expensive, of course, Fang Barrier. So, not quite as dangerous as having a front line of crawlers that can get entirely missiled out in a single, at a critical late game round. There's no upshoot left. The Phoenix will try to farm as much XP as it can, prevent as much hit point damage as it can in 60 seconds. They only shoot every 3 seconds, so they're only going to get 20 shots each here. They've already leveled. Now it's just about preventing hit point damage. And they did a really good job. Do 200 hit points, they reduced Alpha to doing 100 hit points with the arc light. Sacco down to 3324, Alpha at 5300. Sacco, round 4 War Factory, takes efficient maintenance. The upkeep on this, normally 200, now down to 50, and to protect that far side tower, he levels it up to level 2. Oh, and that hurts indeed. Alpha just sold the Scorpion, so there's no source of acid on his board at the moment. Well, we should check before we assert that. He does actually have acid on the crawlers, so has a source of acid if he wants to. Teddy says, asking for a friend, how do I counter the Arclight carry? Don't feed them levels. If you spot a unit that is doing nothing but feeding them experience, sell it immediately. Second thing is to EMP them. Third thing is to outrange them, and that would mean carry marks or stormcallers. There are a couple of other ways too, but those are the most common ones. I suspect Farseer is going to also counter carry arc, but we have yet to see for sure. War Factory plus Farseer plus Arclight would be 1,000 hit points of damage if they all survive here. Does look pretty likely. That is exactly what we get. Alpha down to 4,300 hit points. And Sacco still at 3,300. Typhoon, Saber, a Marksman, a Rhino, all at level 2 are available. Alpha takes a pair of level 2 Sabers, and Sacco takes a pair of level 2 Rhinos. Now, we have seen Sacco do absolutely mind-breaking things with rhinos in the past. The defending against a Sacco rhino push is in my nightmares. Let's just put it that way. He's doing much what you've seen Apooche do with a mobile beacon on the War Factory to ensure it's going to tower, and then we'll be in position to work left to right, even if faster units wind up getting the tower. He's also taken the launcher overload, so his War Factory farmed enough off of the level 2 units on the board to level up last round. He's probably going to farm enough to level up again this round. He's got so much experience on the board with the level 2 sledges and level 2 sabers. Alpha has taken the double shot, so his sabers are going to deal 12,000 damage times 2 every 3.4 seconds, so 24,000 damage. This War Factory's already got 1/3 hit points. So not going to die easily. I don't think one level 2 saber is really going to do it. Now, there is acid on the ground from the crawlers. Alpha going immediately to the get acid on the board counter. You can see nothing's really... No huge DPS unit has taken a shot at it, but it's taking 2.5 times the damage from all the units shooting it. It's driving through acid. It's having a bad day. But it's almost like Sacco has seen this before. He is running photon coating on his War Factory. I don't guarantee you Sacco is going to click photon coating, but I can kind of guarantee you he's going to click it. Sacco has already skipped, and not yet. Has now clicked photon coating. Oh, by the way, let's have a second War Factory now. Both of these War Factories just close enough together to mobile beacon together as a single unit. This War Factory didn't quite level, thanks to the acid. It got 2/3 of the way. We should expect to see it level this round, and you could pretty much guess that this level 1 War Factory will level, especially if it gets into the level 3 units out on this side first, if it's still alive at that point. Sacco at 2,800 hit points, Alpha at 4,300. Oil, a pretty good shout from Alpha, honestly. Slow these guys down, get them stuck in that. At least get them to expend their photon coating time while not moving very far. If they hadn't had photon, getting stuck in this acid for this long would have been absolutely lethal. Getting shot by, level 2 level 2 Sabertooth while sitting in the acid and oil combo would have been deadly. It is not killing them. They've basically taken no damage at all. They are still stuck in the acid, though, and you can see what that's doing to the level 1 War Factory as it gets just chewed up over here. The level 2 has survived, tower's gone down, and level 2 will be able to level, but it does not survive the round. Just a few very damaged. This thing doesn't have a health bar. There's no health bar at all there for Alpha. That thing must have had 1 hit point left. And... right. Sacco sells the War Factory, even though it had leveled here. It had leveled on the right side. Sells the level 1 War Factory to put it on the left side. And, it doesn't want to get it stuck in the oil and acid again. Could conceivably mobile beacon this one back and around, but instead is mobile beaconing up on the attack here. And is this a Sacco missile? Yeah, I think that's a Sacco missile to clear out the acid. crawlers before they can get all in on it. And Sacco as Replicate. Now, this is the downside to acid crawlers. As soon as Sacco replicates off of one of these, it is going to drop some acid. That means that all of the other attacks are going to go quicker, and that means that the replicating is going to be happening more quickly. So Sacco using Alpha's replicate tech, or acid tech, against him to take the really improved replicate here. Alpha trying to drop a crawler and Phoenix in the back corner. Of course, the crawler is going to run into the replicate problem, and if the Phoenix survives, well, it's obviously going to survive, it will fly forward into a sentry missile there. So Sacco covering every angle right now, even here with another sentry missile. It's almost like the man is very, very good at this game. Breaking news from elsewhere, Teddy says he smashed that carry arc light player with a level 3 Sabertooth drop. He gave it range and double shot, and it just ate the board. Well, that is certainly one way to counter carry arc light. This is just so painful. You know, as Sacco watching the unit drop off the board and not do the 600 hit points of damage. So, Sacco wins the round, Alpha down to 40-50. Sacco at 2500. Now there's no oil. We get a unit drop with 3 level 2 Storms, 2 level 1 Overlords, 3 level 2 Fire Badgers, or 3 Wraiths. Alpha takes the Overlords. Are you actually going to Photon Coat to protect your own units from acid? No, he takes the Chin Guns on the Overlords. Sacco sells the left side War Factory, and drops down these Fire Badgers on the right. Increases the War Factory back to level 3 now. The teleport by selling. Level 1 War Factory is back over on the right. And Sacco dropping oil of his own on that far left side, trying to trap a bunch of units in the oil. Alpha adds Replicate of his own, in counter to the Replicate answer from Sacco. Running War Factories, Sacco, you might think, wouldn't have been able to afford to drop the 1-on-1, but he has done, so Alpha's going to be fighting at a disadvantage, anywhere that they are on equal levels. Which is a lot of places on this board, not here though. Sacco adds a Phoenix on the back flank, and missiles these guys out. Phoenix are going to turn out to be a very good call given the War Factory drop. And they were going to have good value against the Sabertooth anyways. With the addition of these... Whoosh. With the addition of the Fire Badgers with range, Sacco's army pushes deep and quick. That's got units out of the oil, or out of the acid. Now he's got people caught in the oil over here. Lights it on fire with the Fire Badgers, and nothing on the board is going to stop a level 3 War Factory, especially not during tower debuff. That lets the Phoenix clean up. It's finally going the way Sacco drew it up in his head. Alpha down to 2919. Sacco still just under 2500. Orbital Javelin wouldn't even scrape the paint job. Both players take the Incendiary Bomb. And right, Alpha's going to drop it straight on the center of replicating crawlers over here. Sacco dropping it on, well, Alpha's center of replicating crawlers, which all are going to get just pulled right into here. For Sacco, those war factories are level 3 and level 2. Not that it's going to be relevant to this game, but if you have played war factories before, the production war factory variant, level 3 unit would be producing level 3 units, so it would be spawning level 3 steel balls, level 3 sledges, and level 3 phoenix. Sacco is 100% committed to a battle factory, has HE missile interceptor and high explosive, missile interceptor and range available on the board. Alpha will be mobile beaconing a couple of overlords, and I think he's trying to grab this Sabertooth as well to get them up into the fight early. Actually, the Sabertooth is going to sit back and defend against the Fire Badger. So he's only grabbing the overlords. For Sacco, he's managed to shield the fire almost perfectly. So, Alpha is running as crawler techs, Mech Rage, Drill, Loose Formation, and Acid Explosion. That's the same set that I'm running. I expect we would find that's the same set that Sacco is running. Nope, he's got Underground instead of Acid. So Sacco not running Acid right now. Has other ways to deal with Worm and War Factory aggro. Sacco wins round 9 big. Alpha down to 468 hit points. In a lot of trouble. Orbital Bombardment comes up. I think that's the finisher for Sacco. Not sure what Alpha can do to get out of this. Sacco going to put it in the middle of the board, where a whole bunch of these units have kind of turned and come this direction. Here we go. Sacco living the dream. Level 4 War Factory, level 3 War Factory, and enough Fire Badgers to light the world on fire. And an orbital, just to finish it off. TJ Flat, first time chatter, welcome, welcome, asks, why no melters? At this point, I suspect there is just too much crawler on the board for Alpha to feel like he was going to get a lock here. He does need the single target, but he opted to go for Overlord with Launcher Overload and Overlord Artillery to try and just dish. Now he's got range on them, so he's really going to try to dish as much damage as he can from the air, because that's the one thing he knows the War Factories can't shoot. Sacco is handling the air with these ranged Phoenix, including a level 3 and a level 3, so I don't think it's necessarily going to work, but the idea there was, with Sacco running range, he was potentially going to be able to have these War Factories deleting things, and Alpha is Elite Specialist, so he's going to have to be recruiting those at, 600 cost instead of 400 cost. He'd gotten the Overlord drop for free, so he figured he was already in Overlords, he might as well have the techs and try to get the job done there. Through to tower, nothing really scratching those huge War Factories. This level 4 beast has 750,000 hit points. The level 3 only has 575,000. And that looks like it's going to be game. Both War Factories surviving. GG's. Sacco through round 2. Alpha puts up a great fight in the spoiler roll, but Sacco is Sacco. Great, great work from that one. Around the league, we have Sacco beat Alpha, CrossFit beats Uncle Lazy. Our, forgotten this one's name, has beaten EOZ. We have Mualani beats D-Unit. Godog beats Demionic. Yuanishi Tianzin. That's why I'm not remembering that name. It doesn't actually translate. Got it. I don't feel so bad. Dolmont beat Fedez. Huiberg beat 38 degrees Celsius. Goph The Great's run comes to a close against Racecar. The other winners are John Dredd, Neo, ChatGPT, Ilaric, Evil Coin, R.A. Omlicker. Did R.A. Omlicker get that win? I think so. No, Jandrid, Jeremiah, Apooche. So, plenty through. Yes Win Big will be in the spoiler role against CrossFit. GoDog has ChatGPT Classic Post. Racecar versus Huiberg. Apooche has Evil Coin. Jeremiah versus Cody. Two of the 201s here. And Sacco against Dillo. My goodness. That's rough. We will take I think we'll take Jeremiah and Cody. All right. Welcome to round 3 of Weekend Tournament Americas number 70. Near side, streamer Jeremiah. On the far side, Coding Firefly, CodiFly. Playing under the name Mualani today is the organizer of the Triple Threat Tricksters Tournament, which you can catch on this station and many others on Saturdays between the weekend tournaments. Jeremiah is an aerial specialist with sledges and arc lights. That is a high hit point starting pack. He's putting his sledges in a line. Wow, that is a line. Okay, that's a little bit better. Apparently starting attacking on the left. CodiFly, quick supply specialist, coming off of a 4th place in the Weekend Tournament Americas number 69. So, trying to build on that, do even better. Of course, Cody's from Croatia, so he is up at something like 3 in the morning for this tournament. Not sure how you guys do it on no sleep. Of course, my day started at 4:30 to cast the Asia. I'm not sure how I do it on no sleep either. Let's see what we've got. Cody with the Storms Central, Arclights Central, clearly expecting Jeremiah to be in an attacking formation. Has his fangs in that position that'll funnel, one fang behind a tower to prevent cheese. For Jeremiah, it's a 2 crawler ad, crawler and arclight on the right, crawler running up to tank these early Stormcaller shots, or at least draw those early Stormcaller shots, while the whole rest of the push arrives. Cody, you can see the value of this central position. These arclight, or these Stormcallers here got involved on the right-hand side and actually did a whole bunch of work against this right side pack of sledges. Jeremiah is going to get that tower on the left. It'll take a moment, while Cody's going to get the one on the right as soon as the tower debuff wears off. And now he's getting to work on the sledges during tower debuff. And Cody wins the round. Jeremiah taking 200 hit points of damage down to 5,100. On to round 2. I gotta say, I am torn in this one. Do I root between the guy doing the sledge aggro, or do I root for my own moderator? Really, I have to root for my moderator, but man, I like sledges. Cody skips. ER Stormcaller, mass-produced Wasp, advanced shield device, and mass-produced Wraith available to Jeremiah. Just going to give those some thought. Cody playing a little bit more quickly, takes the Stormcaller and the Arclight in defense. Also, a mass recruit to pick up this crawler in the back corner. A little bit of flank screening action in case there's a crawler flank. He can't cover both of them and drop this Arclight, so he's leaving the far side open. Did you go mass-produced Wraith? You did. Jeremiah opens up. He's an aerial specialist. He's following the heart of the cards. He was given mass-produced Wraith. He can unlock them for free He can drop 2 of them for 200 cost. And remember, even though these have a sell value and a purchase value of 200, if they survive the round, they still do 300 hit points on the bar. And there's not really enough upshoot on Cody's board to handle them. Yeah, there is no more upshoot, so this round is Jeremiah's, and he's going to do at least that 600 hit points to Cody. This is the value of mass-produced Wraith, of course. Get them out, get some tempo from them, do a bunch of hit point damage, and get opponent into trouble. You can also slap down a whole lot of them, or use the money on teching the ones that you've got. For example, he could throw down 1, throw down range, and a chaff on this round, and still have, you know, well, he wouldn't have money left in the bank because it's a unit reinforcement round. Cody takes the melting point, basically Bear Lake handing him 2 different answers to the Wraiths. Marksman, obviously with Aerial Specialist, would have been one way. I don't know if Cody is running Aerial Specialist, but the melting point, a little bit of overkill against a level 1 mass-produced Wraith, would not be a overkill against a level 2 or 3 Wraith with you know, with an item on it. For Jeremiah, the ad will be the level 3 Mustangs. Far side, outside, kind of in a power screening position. There's no attack from there right now, but this all but guarantees that there won't ever be a flank from that side. Cody buys the second melter, so 1 melter in front of each tower, basically positioned in the giant-shaped gap that he has left. You notice that is a perfect 4x4 square. And in addition to the melter from drop, he drops a flank crawler. That just got chewed up really quickly. But kind of forcing Jeremiah to respect the flank. Both of the Wraiths are gone. Storms are working on, well, everything else. While the Melters are just sitting there providing 30,000 hit points of buffer. And the one on the right does go down, the one on the left goes down as well. But this round a lot closer, and it goes to Cody. Cody has about 2 packs of Storms left, drops Jeremiah to 4,700 hit points, 4,700 to 3,600. Cody does show up here, says, of course I run AA, it's a super high value tech. I just wasn't sure if you were running Assault Mode Marksman or something after Triple Threat Tricksters today. So, but it is a super high value tech. He just took the melters and made them work. Portable shield taken by both players. Cody tech's armor enhancement, that should all but shut down the Mustangs. These Mustangs will do 111 damage per shot. If they are locked onto the level 2 Arclight, it blocks 60 damage per shot per level. So it blocks 120 damage. It does not block all 111 though, because every shot is guaranteed to do at least 1 hit point. So it'll block 110 hit points and take 1 per shot per Mustang. For Cody, oh, now this is tricky. Cody drops the portable shield on the crawlers on the flank. Unfortunately, Jeremiah does not trust that his crawlers are going to win the crawler flank war, so he drops some Mustangs out there as well. And that, while tricky, oh no, there's a Arclight out there too. Okay, so Cody has the Arclight backing it up, also with armor. So and it's just going to tank these guys indefinitely. It's also even level 2, so even if Jeremiah had a higher level over here, it's completely shut down. And you can see what I was talking about here, where this Arclight is actually taking damage, but so minimal that it might as well not be. And Jeremiah's entire Mustang push shut down. And he's got a problem on the flank. Two surviving giants, a whole bunch of surviving Stormcallers, And Jeremiah is dipped from 3,600 to 2,800. I'm sorry, I believe it was 40 something, 4,000 something, down to 2,600. Big oof. Big oof for Jeremiah. He takes Improved War Factory, going for that as the out. Improved War Factory, of course, gives the War Factory an extra 40% hit point, 15% attack, and 10 range, as well as decreasing the attack interval. So, you get a huge buff to the War Factory. He'll be hoping it'll be enough to not only take out the arc lights, but also to be able to defeat the melting points head to head. For that to happen, he's got to get there. And Cody has added 2 more storms, added incendiary bomb to the storm, so he's lighting the ground on fire. All of these little units are going to burn. Cody's arc lights out in front to tank again. Jeremiah has about 27 seconds to spend 1,200. It decides to go with wasps and 1 more sledge. Now, wasp, of course, there's not much that's shooting air here, and the wasp down in that corner is going to handle that flank. Also, triple recruits to bring out an overlord, who is aerial specialist, so he had unlocked that earlier, and now has it up on the front line. Replacing the 2 mass-produced wraiths. He's sold out of one, he's sold out of the other. I do think that is going to get melting pointed. As soon as the tanks are gone, it's going to take a little while for that melter to get through the tanks. And meanwhile, the Overlord is more than capable of handling the armored arc light. Cody's flank does end every unit that was down there other than the wasps, but the melting point gets through the Overlord. There's not a whole lot of Fang left, but a little bit of Fang screen, plus the melting point damage, plus a tower debuff. It has a lot more damage dealt. And Jeremiah reduced to 526 hit points. Mualani, CodiFly, in a commanding position, and draws the nuke, but skips. Jeremiah also skipping. I think Jeremiah here is being very cognizant of the fact that the nuke would delete that Overlord, and it's not really the unit he wants on the board. He wants the War Factory. It's going to cost him 200 to unlock and 1,000 to buy. He's got 1,650 available. Here it is, the Improved War Factory with Launcher Overload and another pack of Wasps. And Cody goes Ranged Anti-Air Wasps as his answer to Jeremiah's Wasps. It's the second pack of them is right in the middle. But now it's going to be out there screening the War Factory. So, obviously Cody's known this was coming. You can mouse over and see what was taken, of course. So, Improved War Factory has always been on the cards. It's got a shield bubble up. This Improved War Factory has 250,000 hit points at level 1, and 4 guns doing 9,000 damage every 0.8 seconds with the Launcher Overload. So, and with the range bonus, it's doing it at 105 meters. So the key is going to be, can Cody get that melter to lock on first? And as you can see, the Wasp's doing just enough of a screening roll. The big War Factory locks onto the melter. Down goes the melter. You asked why Alpha wasn't running melters against Sacco. There's the answer. As long as they are appropriately screened, the War Factory wins. The melter only wins if the War Factory isn't correctly screened. And again, it gets it done. That Arclight did just enough to tank. Jeremiah wins round 6. Mualani had looked like they were in complete control. Now takes 1,000 hit points damage, down to 2659 as we go to round 7. So a really nice pivot from Jeremiah. Cody takes 3 Farseers, can use the Farseer to deliver EMP and clear out the Wasps. It's a great double value for Cody. And I expect to see them kind of all along the back so that you can't just sell this and buy it somewhere else. Also adds the Acid Crawlers. So again, I'm expecting to see them left, center, right with EMP on them. There's the EMP, there's one on the left, there's one center, there's one right. So there's no real out for Jeremiah in terms of sell this and reposition it and catch Cody by surprise, because Cody is covering all 3 angles. Jeremiah also takes the Farseer, levels this thing up, so really committing to it. And Cody has the crawlers right on the line, has the missiles to handle the wasps, and has his own wasps on the back line. He's also missiling these guys out. So these wasps should basically come straight forward, and if Jeremiah engaged Wasp Shield, this would have and now Cody's got a Wasp right up front and center, so it's going to have an instant lock. Yes, Swordfist, it does look like we have seen this match before, but this is going to have very different outcomes. Level 2 War Factory will do its best, but it's now stuck in the acid, and here comes the EMP to stop it in its tracks, sitting on the acid, taking all that damage, also getting just pounded by Stormcallers while it's sitting in acid. And yeah, now the melter not even necessary, doesn't do all of the damage necessary, but War Factory down to like a sliver of hit points, somehow still alive. Hello? It's driven out of the acid, it's still barely alive. Jeremiah still has a chance. And he's gonna get that melter too. Look at this. Jeremiah getting it done. Oh, I absolutely thought Cody had that covered. Instead, Jeremiah's War Factory punches through. Look at this thing. Next to no hit points. That it is flickering 1 bar of green in and out. Cody down to 1571. Cody takes the additional deployment. He's not the one in a big giant. For Jeremiah, I think I would like to see advanced powertrain. Get this thing in on tower quicker. Just turn the speed up. Get this thing moving 9 meters per second so it can get out of the acid if necessary. He's also got photon coating on the bar and 1150 to spend. I know he would love to bring in a second one, but they're so expensive at 1100 a piece. He could sell this one now and bring it in on, to have 2 on the other side. Right? You could come out over here. Because he can sell this one for 1400. He's instead not doing that. Gonna get stuck in oil. Did take both photon and range. But it's really interesting to see this game go back to back with the Sacco one, where you're really getting to see very similar concept from Jeremiah, but being implemented differently, and a very similar defense, but the subtle differences in implementation are turning this in Cody's direction. Implementation, positioning, what tech's taken in what order. Mobile beacon for it. Of course, it's going straight through the oil. It can't get EMP'd. It has been locked onto by both melters. Goodness, it's through. It's got to the tower. Yoinks. That thing is a beast. I did get that buff to hit points recently. The improvement to the efficient maintenance as well. This time it died in the acid in the middle, and that is enough. Cody beats Jeremiah in 8 rounds. Valiant effort from Jeremiah. the super buff improved War Factory, to be fair. That thing is insanely good. Do you guys remember the board game Ogre? That is what that felt like. Cody throws an entire army at it, and this thing just would not stop moving. But eventually, Cody wore it down. It was amazing. Well played. Cody says, no, that thing needs a nerf. I don't care. GG's, very nicely played. Why won't it die? If it bleeds, we can kill it. CrossFit beats Yes Win Big. Yes Win Big playing in the spoiler role, up against one of the best, of course. Godog beats ChatGPT Classic Host. huiberg beats Racecar. Apooche gets to 3-0 over Evil Coin. We saw CodiFly beat Jeremiah. Stupid Vegetables losing to Yuanshi Tianzun. I hope I'm anywhere close with pronunciation. I have never studied Mandarin. Etheric beats Dulmut, and we've got Sacco and Armadillo in a close one. So, Neo did beat Jandrid. Sacco beat Dillo. We'll show the rest of the matches here for a moment. You can find your favorites. Lots of names we know all up and down the ladder, of course. Jandrid will be in the spoiler role facing CrossFit. We're gonna get huiberg and Neo. Cody versus Etheric. And oh my, Godog versus Stupid Vegetables, I think. No, Stupid Vegetables lost. This is the Yuanshin, I hope. But the headline match of round 4 is absolutely going to be Sacco against Apooche. These two, each a legend, going to be going up head to head. And I know I'm not supposed to leak too much. No, I'm not supposed to leak too much information about this. I think this one is probably safe. I think this one's probably safe for me to link. Both Apooche and Sacco have accepted their invitational places in the upcoming launch tournament. So those are two of the names you can expect to see featured in that one. More details coming on Thursday. We'll be right into that one. Sure, I missed one. They'll let me know. Welcome to round 4 of Weekend Tournament Americas number 70. The quarterfinals are here. We have Sacco versus Apooche, the headline match. Would love to see this one as a tournament final, and of course that will be possible when they are each in the launch tournament. Apooche, Farside Red, has taken the Marksman Specialist with Crawler and Steel Ball. For Sacco, Nearside, a Rhino Specialist with Crawler and Tarantula. Of course, lots of respect between these two. As you can see, we are going to take a... Hide the chat window, thank you very much. Don't need to see what all the spectators are thinking, don't need to see the bets. Let's just focus on the match. For Apooche, he's taking one Arclight, one more Crawler. This is necessary if you're going to run any kind of ball crawl aggression. You've got to have some chaff clear. If you're going to do it evenly on both sides, you need to take 2 Arclights, one for each side. If you're going to do it uneven, asymmetrical the way that Apooche is, you can get away with 1 Arclight. Apooche, note this position is exactly 70 meters back off the line. He's leaving, and this is exactly 70 meters off that line. That is exactly 1 War Factory sized hole, much the way that Sacco and Jeremiah ran the War Factory. A lot of the top players are leaving that 7x7 gap. Why do you leave that 7x7 gap? I mean, obviously we've seen acid crawlers into them, but the The reason for it is as long as you have some screening units here and here, it's almost impossible to get an instant lock on it with a melter, right? If you had a long-range melter with 155 meters and it was way back here, it would lock onto the chaff unit on the side. If it was way back here, it would lock onto this one. There's just no place you can put it to get it to have the best angle on it. For Sacco, he took 2 fangs, puts them out in front to slow things down, and letting the tarantulas get the work done. He's got about 12, maybe 10 crawlers going for Apooche's right side tower, Sacco's left. Gets that tower at perfect timing with the tarantulas engaged on the steel balls. That is painful for Apooche. Down go the steel balls, no levels for you, and the tarantulas clean up the rest of the round. We get the unit reinforcements with Apooche taking a Typhoon. I love Ball-Foon aggro, and that is what Apooche is going for right now. Sacco takes the Phoenix. Phoenix, obviously a great answer to everything that Apooche was already showing. Not a great answer to the level 3 marksman, of course, but an answer to everything else that Apooche was showing. And with no particular upshoot, unless he remembered that Apooche was a marksman specialist. Pretty sure Sacco remembers. Still, it's a good pickup. He's adding 2 more crawlers back row, back line. For Apooche, this crawler is going to pull this. This is the pack of crawlers that got his tower, so it's going to get pulled central. This pack also pulled central. Really good positioning right here. Obviously, Sacco could drop something on that far corner and have an unprotected run, but for anything else that's just outside of the tower is enough. Apooche has gotten those 2 level 2 Phoenix stuck on crawlers. The crawlers get the tower. The steel balls getting through to the tarantulas, and you can see what a huge difference the Typhoons made in terms of clearing chaff. They're just built for that. They are so good at it. This is why they are such a great add to ball and crawler aggression. And of course, you can always give them mech rage to get them to sort of keep up. They will have almost the same speed, trailing along just a little bit behind. And if you range the steel balls and give the Typhoon shield bubble, then the steel ball will fight from underneath the shield bubble, which can buy you an extra shot or 2 against, for example, the dreaded Scorpion. Sacco takes a missile strike. Apooche takes his time, always does. Takes his time thinking about it. Eventually took the Rhino drop. Cognizant of, I think, of the fact that he's kind of vulnerable on the backside. Maybe expecting a Rhino specialist Sacco to consider the to consider potentially a tech on the Rhino, and if he might have teched the Rhino, having a teched Rhino drop later on could be very helpful. Yes, Leon Cho, welcome, welcome. I was, in fact, in Rooster's stream this morning, or Rooster was in mine, something like that. We were co-casting it together. Had a lot of fun doing that. It was great. Really, actually felt a really cool rapport with Rooster. I really appreciate him offering to do that. Really enjoyed it. We may well make that a recurring thing. We'll be talking about that during the week, I'm sure. For Sacco, the ad was a Vulcan right in the way. There's still such good late arriving chaff for Apooche. He's going to get that tower. These poor Phoenix, they have done 33, 34, 35 kills, but they're really only getting kills off the crawlers right now. They go down to the typhoons. Apooche added a typhoon, willing to pay the summoning price over here on round 3 of the game in order to have that flank established, and that will pull all of the late, anything that Sacco might put to defend a corner flank is going to get pulled out over here. That could leave him vulnerable to something here later, or it just means that he's not. It has to kind of deploy out here to defend into this angle. Here's a whole new pack of Ball, Crawl, and Foon. Ball, Crawl, Typhoon. Something like that. And they're going to come out on the other side. It's worth looking at the positioning here. This is the ideal positioning for the Ball, Crawl, Foon. Ball is just behind, so that if you did get a missile hitting this thing, it'll be stopped, and a lot of the crawlers will be in underneath the typhoons. Typhoons are vertical, so that you get both barriers protecting their lead typhoon. And as it turns out, that is where the level 2 Rhino is. Apooche all but reading that perfectly. Just on top of his game at the moment. Sacco had to be shaking his head when he saw that one come out. And again, you get those typhoons just chewing through all the chaff. That's letting all the key units focus on their jobs. In this case, it's going to be the outside that wins. What had been the weak side is going to get to tower. Phoenix have finally shot something other than crawlers. They leveled up off of Orange Man. Nice job, Phoenix. They also out-leveled the Typhoon. If it hadn't been for the tower debuff, they'd have taken those both down quicker. Instead, they're going to finish out the round. Sacco wins round 4. Apooche down to 35-56. TJ Flat, indeed, it's Balfoon. I love Balfoon. This makes me very happy to see. Apooche takes the speed. He is the aggressor. He's pushing in. He wants additional speed with the advanced powertrain. Gets all of these units up in speed. Steel Ball is now moving 19 meters per second. The unimproved Typhoons will move 12 meters per second. For Sacco, it is Scorching Flames in 3 places now, and also takes an oil. Gonna light that oil on fire in front of Apooche here. And so we saw that two Vulcans with Scorch were able to defend this tower. He's adding one on the other side to defend the far one. That is supported by a level 1 Phoenix. Apooche is reaching the level where he needs to start teching these. He's going to bring out one more Typhoon before he does that. That Typhoon is for these steel balls, and it's probably going to need a crawler up front as well. Where did he take instead? No, that crawler was late arriving. What am I missing, gang? Alright. Some new crawler somewhere, I think. And levels for steel balls on the far side. So, untech'd, Balfoon loses to 3 Scorching Flames Vulcans. Okay, that's fair. Lots of things lose to 3 Scorching Flames Vulcans. There are no techs on it, so Apooche could conceivably pivot out if he wanted to pivot out of one of these, but I think it's just commit into it, take the techs on the units, and ride them to victory. Sacco, both of you players actually getting the opportunity of reinforcements. 2 forts, 2 level 3 storms, 2 level 1 sandworms, or level 3 wraith are the options. Stormcaller, a great pick for both of them. Both of them take it. For Apooche, it's going to be backing up. I love this. This is something Yeswin Big encouraged me to do. It is Squish. Thank you. Much appreciate it. Tell her I'm single. Has the Level 3 storms, one for each side. Gonna drop those on top of the giants for super large damage. Yeah, here we go. We get all the text to make this all work. It's a barrier and a range for the steel ball. So as we talked about, that gives the steel balls a 95-meter range. I'm sorry, 85-meter range. That'll keep them just in under the barrier. They'll be fighting from right at the edge of the barrier, as long as the Typhoon keeps up with them. Sacco is missiling out the very back corner crawlers. Of course, Apooche's chaff build is not random. It really is. We've talked about it. Here is that early chaff. Here's the early mid chaff. He's missing the late mid chaff. These are part of the late chaff. But getting those shot down means that once he's cleared the front 2 layers of chaff, there's nothing else that's going to distract this Phoenix. It's going to be able to get lots of work done. However, as you can see, the barrier's not so susceptible to the scorching flames. Vulcans still rely on splash damage for a lot of their DPS, and down go pretty much everything. There are still a couple of Vulcans left, though. Left side, it's down to very close, right? This is exceptionally close. Look at this match. Wow, we're down to 1 pack of those new storms, taking out Sacco's new storms right at the end of the round. Apooche at 2,400, Sacco at 2,300. And we get our reinforcements for round 7. Extended range Vulcan, probably not what Sacco wants. Yeah, he doesn't want to reduce the hit points on those. Instead, both players take the big old EMP blast. And yeah, it's even worth putting them where they can hit your own units. I think Sacco could hit all 3 of these, but it would be kind of dangerously threatening this. But Apooche will be able to put it to hit all 3 of those. So shields up if you've got them. Smoke them if you got them. I don't know. There it is. That is such good positioning from Apooche. You just see it. I really felt like getting to have Apooche in my ear in that first year of the Triple Threat Tricksters, the first season of it. That was amazing. Really, really raised my game and understanding of the board situations to a large amount. The guy just sees so much of the game. I think there is a huge part of understanding Mechabellum that really is about where are you looking during a round play out, and that is part of why I switched to the automatic camera, in part so that you guys can put your eyes camera where you'd rather have it, rather than have me mouse off to show you some corner of the map where you think there's a different important fight happening. That would happen to me, for example, watching Idle Cub or watching Rat. Both of them would move the mouse around and show me what part of the map they were focused on, and a lot of times I was relying on their commentary to focus on one thing while my eyes were showing me what was happening on something else. A lot of times they would mouse right off the map, and I'd be like, wait, where is this? Sacco has all 4 giants survive. Sudden death for Apooche. 1,624 in a single blow. The huge, the EMP is just such a huge drop. It burst through all of the shields, so there was nothing left, and completely detect the unprotected units. Slowed down all of the crawlers. They just kind of came into their deaths very slowly. And yeah, Vulcan may have been nerfed, but 4 Vulcans, a whole bunch of Phoenix, and some Storms. Yeah, that looks awful familiar. Looks a lot like Vulcan Phoenix here. Dillo says, no, it's just that balls are bad into Vulcan. Or in this particular case, it's Vulcan was Sacco's choice to defend against the balls, and Apooche committed into ball Foon, and then takes a fairly unlucky drop there. 4 Vulcans, 2... it's 1, 2, 3 Phoenix. 3 Phoenix, 2 Storms. Yep. No, it's 4 Phoenix now. There's one more cleverly hidden here. Perfectly camouflaged gray against this in the middle. Also, clever use of the AMD over here to ensure that the Stormcaller was still kind of negated on that round. And of course he had shields up to protect that his units didn't get detect. So, very solid win for Sacco. Apooche came 3rd in this tournament last week. Is going to be in the 1-loss bracket for the rest of the way here. We are down to 5 unbeaten, and CrossFit abandons. So, CrossFit, of course, CrossFit, the runner-up in the European tournament earlier today, either not feeling it or deciding that somebody else can get a big medal today, notices that the game is unbalanced, the lineup here is unbalanced, steps out, rather than leaving this in the 6 going to 3. So we are now guaranteed a 6-round tournament, no chance of a 7th round, with CrossFit having abandoned at 4 wins and no losses. So, beat... Oh, wow. Goes through a whole bunch of chat. Beat Hots, beat Uncle Lazy, beat Yes Win Big, beat Jandred, and then decides to abandon. Alright, we have Sacco versus Yuan Shin, huiberg versus Mualani. Well, we have followed Sacco a whole bunch. huiberg versus Mualani, then. We'll put up the channel point prediction. Welcome to the semifinals of Weekend Tournament Americas number 70. huiberg, near side in blue, has the ability to play Rhino Specialist, Speed Specialist, Marksman, or Farseer, up against Cody, Coding Firefly, playing as Mualani today. Mualani, a Sabertooth Specialist, coming off a 4th place in this tournament last week, has reached the Final 4 again. And here we are. Gangster says it's sad that the top Chinese players played bad in the Asia tournament. Yeah, it was... I was surprised, because usually you guys are tops of the list there. Alpha, not Alpha Titan, is spectating. Alpha Titan decided to take the evening off after being fairly tilted on a couple of games of Mechabellum earlier. What is Alpha Titan's in-game name? It is Alpha Titan. Yes, Alpha and Alpha Titan are not in any way related. So, not the same player. huiberg, near side, a Farseer Specialist with Marksman added to a Tarantula Crawler board as the solid central position in case Mualani came out with aggro. As a Sabertooth Specialist, he's got the 2 sledge start, adds 5 crawlers, and is ready to go. We know, of course, that the Tarantula matches up very well into Sledgehammer, and of course with Marksman backing them up. Cody goes down in round 1, taking about 600 hit points of damage, down to 3,300. huiberg started with a very low hit point pack as well, 3,600. So this game might be the shorter of the 2, depends how quick the other one goes, so we may be able to even jump into the other semifinal as well. Of course, Cody has the Sabers coming out. Oh, now this is looking very classic. Adds a pair of Phoenix, Is this the classic Cody board with a saber-tooth added? He's got the positioning for it. It is the classic Cody board. So the classic Cody board will be a line of Phoenix, a line of sledges, and I'm guessing some saber-tooth. There should possibly be some fangs out in front of it, but that is the plan. We'll see how it goes. The saber-tooth, a great answer to the tarantulas. The huiberg takes the heavy armor and puts it on the right side to tarantulas. So sort of guessed right as to which side to put it on, not on the saber-tooth strong side. This time, with the tarantula dead, there's enough chaff on the left that Cody's going to win that and just push through to tower. Cody's celebrating breaking 2,000 MMR. Said he was half tempted to retire the account he'd done it on. Wins round 2. Huiberg dropped to 2880. Cody skips. There is an improved melting point. This can be so strong. Having that to have the extra 20 range in a melter mirror, just absolutely huge. Obviously, it increases the recruitment cost, but if you feel like you get into giant, melter mirrors, improved melting point should be a take for you. Improved wasp was also available. That could be really powerful. Both players skipped. Cody's skip went into a triple recruit. 1, 2, 3 more sledges in line. When I was playing a lot of sledge, I would kind of cheat forward with the outside so that I could kind of swoop around the outside. Cody doesn't believe in it. He leaves these guys back where they would also contribute to any kind of flank. And the Croatian in fine form. For Huiberg, it's Farseer time. He's got the Farseer in the back left corner. Added the crawlers from the deepest corners, and I think this... Nope, that marksman is from last round. The fangs were also from last round. So, not a whole lot has changed other than adding the Farseer and a little bit more chaff. Difference is earlier lock on that Sabertooth, thanks to the Farseer clearing things. Sabertooth goes down. On the other hand, this many sledges actually count as chaff clear. Yes, this is the S tier strat. Start with tanks, add tanks, and then buy tanks. Oh, you might also want something that can shoot air, so buy a Phoenix or two. Hello, hello, Ghosters. We are in the semifinals, where you've got fellow moderator Cody playing as Mualani, on the far side as Red. Just lost round 3. Oh, is that round 4? Just lost round 4. You mega missed the weekend tourney. Played tennis for way too long. How can you possibly play tennis for that long, man? Cody sells the Sabertooth, took the 2 packs of Mustangs, and triple recruits more sledges. Here they are. 8 sledges across the board. S-tier strat. Let's go. Yeah, Huiberg tries adding the Mustangs to it, but those Mustangs are going to get shot. Yes, note the extra subtleties of the position. They're all perfectly in line with each other. There is no weak spot. Actually, did want to point out part of the reason that Huiberg turned around last round, was having the range on tarantulas previously. Right, if lasers didn't exist, this would be the most awesome linked sledge line ever. At day 1 of playing the game, this would be the Armor Link tech game for sure. But, of course, Cody doesn't even run it. The reason he's not running Link, of course, I know you Coasters knows this, the reason he's not running Link is because if you get a single steel ball locked onto one of these sledgehammers and they are all linked, eventually the steel ball damage has ramped up all the way and is taking apart the entire line, which is basically not what you want. A melting point demolishes a huge line of linked sledges, of course. So if you're going to run a giant, you might as well actually have a giant, not a whole bunch of linked sledges. For Cody, it's 8. They're level 1. Even if you kill them with these leveled units, they are not... they're not giving away a ton of XP, right? The Phoenix gets the job done on the left. The Farseer gets the job done on the right for huiberg. And with 1 surviving marksman, huiberg wins round 4. Mualani down to 2,400. We're only 4 rounds in. They're both under 3,000 hit points. They started with low hit points, so this is going to be a pretty quick match. Wasp Swarm, a great tempo play. They both, of course, have Mustangs, and so have Mustangs unlocked. huiberg is going to try to drop the Wasps right in the middle. They will lock onto these crawlers and follow those crawlers right up the middle, so they're really not going to go to the towers at all. Cody already has it covered. huiberg also has it covered. Wait a minute. That's Cody's defensive Wasp Swarm. Never mind. Just covering them entirely. Ghosters does point out there is a breakpoint where it wouldn't matter. So there's a cap on the damage that steel balls and melters do per second, and you could conceivably photon them so they were taking less damage and possibly have enough field maintenance to out-heal them melting. You'd need a lot of levels and a lot of tanks, but it is possible. Regen plus Link can be funny that way. Gangster says, just invest in snipers. Man, that's no fun. And obviously anything that EMPs them turns the whole line back off, but then they're no longer getting melted, so... Both players with the Wasp Swarm defensively. I'm not sure I quite got the point of that one for either of them. I think that might have been a... Ooh, this is a tempo game. Wait, no, there's nowhere to put these. Of course, the downside is the tanks and the Mustangs all have the same range, so Cody's units are all fighting from the same spot. That means that the tarantula damage and the splash from the Farseers actually kills the Mustangs pretty easily. Those Mustangs needed range if they were going to be effective against the Wasps. And huiberg drops Cody down to 700 hit points. Mech Rage, first, not necessarily the answer. Mualani skips, huiberg takes efficient tech. Now these are... Oh god, there's a 9th sledge. Where did that one go? Is that on the flank somewhere? That's my guess. Oh, there's a 10th sledge, a 9th sledge, a 10th sledge, a crawler. They're all out here on the flank. And all of the sledges heal. Note that Cody's not even taking healing on the... or taking levels on them. Just a full-on sledge line, no levels. Has the flank going. Took a shield in front. Didn't bother ranging the Mustangs, going to protect this side by getting them in under the bubble. And possibly also by having this massive pull out there that's just going to slow everything down. If he can get in on tower, he's going to do a lot during the tower debuff. And you can see there's really, he's done so much pull out here that getting really close to that tower. Now he gets the tower down, gets it down while there's still fighting going on over here, having kept the tanks alive. This is one of the hidden advantages of field maintenance. Sometimes you feel like it doesn't keep up with DPS, but then all of a sudden you've got a tower and your units are healing back up to full during the tower debuff while the enemy's DPS is reduced. And Cody wins round 6. Drops huiberg from 2,800 down to 2,086. It's not like debuffing the enemy through the tower improves your healing. It just means that their outgoing DPS suddenly isn't keeping up to the rate of healing. That's all I was trying to say there. Fire Badger for huiberg. Fire Badger for Cody. Sea Badger, Pick Badger. And throw down some oil just in case. Perfect. throw down a bubble just in case there's oil when you've seen Badger. That also makes sense. Clever. Clever play. Badger too good. Nerf Napalm. I like Badger. I still feel like I want the rare units to all be strong, and the shield had nothing to do with Badger, it was to protect the Mustangs. Counter to Sledge is to slow down your units, i.e. drop oil, so preventing the slow. And of course, he's pinning with these corner units, has the same drop on the other side, really taking advantage of huiberg's formation. He's going to do the same pull that he did on the other side here. So now you go long. It got into tower from the front last round. Should be getting into the tower on this side as well. This time with the shield, the pinned units are going to arrive in time to defend towers. That is not great for Cody. He does take out the key defenders here. Gets in on the left side tower, takes the left side tower down. That's going to let the right side collapse while the left side is mopping up. And tower and round. Cody, convincing round 7 win. Drops huiberg to 277 hit points. Surely round 8 will be the last round. And incendiary bomb for both players. Presumably. I don't imagine Cody's taking something else, although maybe he's tempted by fast teleportation. And I suspect huiberg could have been could have made use, at least, of the anti-interference module. But yeah, haste module, get something from the back line up into the front. It makes sense. Catsamu says, amusingly, leveling both towers to level 3 would be amusingly decent for huiberg, because again, Cody is relying on this pin to take what is essentially a weaker lineup, pin huiberg's units off in the corner, and hit tower before they go down. Cody says, shh, don't teach people how to counter me. Hey, this channel is about learning. There were a whole bunch of positional things that huiberg could have learned also, such as not having these guys on the very back line where they get pulled off to the sides. I will point out, if the mere thought of leveled towers makes Cody shiver, a lot of the upset wins that we've seen, especially in first rounds, have involved lower ranked players leveling towers and beating higher ranked players with leveled towers, essentially in strats where higher ranked player isn't used to seeing that as the answer to what they're doing and doesn't have an instant counter. It is becoming more common across the board, but in particular I'm noticing that it's one of the trends in the early round upsets that I've had the chance to go look at the replays of. No upset here. Cody gets the finish and knocks huiberg out of the semifinals. And obviously two very solid players. Cody celebrating having broken 2000 MMR and getting further along. Congratulations. Cody will be in the final, where they will be facing Sacco. Let's go. Sacco beating Yuan Shin in the other semifinal. That leaves us with Sacco versus Cody. Goph the Great on track to a top finish as well. Well done. Looking on route to a top 10 finish. You can finish out with the last round win. Sacco versus Cody. Welcome to the final of Weekend Tournament Americas number 70. Sacco up against Week 66 champion of this very tournament, CodiFly, playing under the name Mualani. Mualani, far side, fortified specialist with crawler and sledges. Sacco, near side, a giant specialist with fangs and steel balls, sends Cody his love. Cody, of course, playing from Croatia at, oh dear God, is it 4 in the morning for you, sir? Something like that. I'm sorry, my bad. 5:17 in the morning. Vader Dev has my back. Yeah, thank you. Sacco lining up on the line with steel balls and fangs on the line. Mualani, is this the same formation? Would you dare run that against? You wouldn't run that against. He would. It's at very least the very same formation. He'll adapt, I'm sure, as we see. Now, note, Sacco, like others, leaves that 7 gap here, has a 9 gap here as well. And Cody says, no, I would not. He watched my last game. So he already knows it. But Cody, of course, is not above throwing out the look. So much like you might come out with similar looking formations or similar looking set pieces in soccer, in football, show the same look and do something different from it in order to confuse, misdirect, etc. There we go. Wonderboat says first. We're 8.5 hours into the stream, sir. You are not first. Look, I'm just going to say I have coached multiple Premier League teams in my time, and somewhere out there you can't you just lie to me and say I am Sag, unfollowed. I have coached multiple teams to Premier League glory in Football Manager from Sports Interactive. Love them. Sacco, very similar start to what we've seen previously, has taken a level 2 Phoenix. And for those of you who might enjoy this, for those of you who really want to lean in, if you really want to lean in to Amaroq as Ted Lasso, here you go. Enjoy, Larius. Have some bedtime reading. Cody, don't give America an American the star to the 501 region. Cody does win round 2 at 3640 hit points, drops Sacco to 4560. And let's see where we're at. Cody skips efficient tech research. Oh, that hurts to skip early. I was punished with Elite Tarantula on ladder recently. Cody is showing this sledge formation as though really committed to it right now. When I say I'm an old school gamer, yeah, that is written when Ghosters was 3. I love it. Been gaming since before Ghosters was born. Old school. I remember when we had to compile our games ourselves because we'd written them in BASIC. Wait, there's no compiler in BASIC. Never mind. Is Cody gonna win the title with a sledge-based Sledge Phoenix game? Yep, good old NES days, exactly. I don't need that newfangled Nintendo 64. Cody wins round 3, drops Sacco under 4,000 hit points. 38-20 for Sacco. Sacco's got a 13th place from Asia earlier. Of course, Cody coming off of 4th place last week and running hard in this one. Yeah, you guys think Rainbow Road is hard nowadays? Man, you guys should have played that old school version. Thing was so narrow, you had to get every corner perfect. And then something would bump you, and off you would go, and it was all for naught. Cody is going straight on with the Mech Rage early. It looks like the same build, the same formation. Is he baiting this War Factory? I mean, it really looks like he's baiting the War Factory. Acid on the crawler. Not there yet. Yeah, Wonderboat, we know Sacco is running it, right? He's Giant Spec. He's Giant Specialist. He's got the 7x7 here. Absolutely expect him this. Cody has a whole bunch of different tools in the arsenal, including charged shot on the Phoenix and EMP on the sledges. I don't think Sacco is waiting for her Scorpions. I think he's got a better answer to this. Yeah, we had the level 2 tower down here. He defended it with a Phoenix. Probably didn't want to have to deal with it longer term, right? Here is the War Factory. Sacco just goes straight to it. Has it in the little 7x7 gap. Takes efficient maintenance again. This is what he's been running all tournament. We've heard it. We've seen it. This Phoenix is actually going to do some double duty. It's down here. It's going to turn around and come up this direction. Okay, Wonderboat. There was one game he didn't. Yes. I didn't see that one, and nobody reported it to me, but thank you for correcting me. I appreciate it. Actually, Wonderboat, I was wondering if you would be willing to chat sometime on Discord. I was kind of hoping to do a little bit of, like, the oral history of early days Mechabellum before the game has released. To have kind of a... These were the big name players before I'd even got there, so let me... if you would be open, I would love to have that conversation someday. How early are we talking? I mean, you know, from whenever you came in on it, I just want to pick up your... Yeah, exactly. I basically want to have a whole bunch of those folks that were around early. GCU, Arbiter, all of that. Exactly, for the cultural story. I would love to do that as a big one. Incursus was the reason you got into the game. Sacco down to 2,000 hit points. Cody handles the War Factory on round... Was that round 5? We go to round 6. Cody skips the Ion Blast. Sacco might be thinking about the Photon. I don't think he can afford it with what he's got on the board. Might also be thinking about the Ion Blast with how tightly packed all of this is. Instead goes with the second War Factory, far left corner. There is not really any chaff or anything over there to protect it. Now he's got a crawler as a little bit of chaff just to make sure there's no insta-lock here. The don't think Cody's going to stop this one. He's got this Phoenix up to level 4. It's done, it did 104,000 damage last round. The War Factory's on 190. Wonderboat, I would really appreciate that. That would be, I think, very cool for the game for us to have like a little cultural background of it, who some of the early players were, and talking about how some of the early innovations in the game came around. It would be, yeah. I think it's early enough to matter for sure. You've seen so much of the strategic evolution of the game, and I think would know who to credit with certain inventions that we all kind of take for granted now. Like, there's so many standard positions and moves that are pretty common now that we're not necessarily instant selections. Right, the default crawler positions, for example. Where did those come from? Who came up with them? And Cody is getting the War Factories killed with acid crawlers. Does not win the round this time. Two War Factories just tanky enough. We've got a level... We've got the Badger drop. Both players see the Badger, take the Badger. For Sacco, we've seen him run them with the with range to accompany the War Factories. Takes Photon Coating to protect against the acid. That is going to make this game really difficult for Cody. Of course, we've seen answers to it with, for example, oil, to pick one of these and get them stuck. And Cody going with Fang Shield. So we're going to kind of try to tank here, slow things down a little bit, light the ground on fire, hopefully. Don't know how that winds up working for him. Fire Badgers in both corners, deleting some of the later arriving crawlers. This one will summon in, I think, and this one won't make it because of the Phoenix. Now the Phoenix no longer have the mobile beacon. All right. Wonderboat did run the no spells icon for a long time, right? Yeah. It was brilliant. Yeah, as I said, this one wasn't going to do a whole lot in the top right corner. The big Phoenix got over there and took care of it. The Fangs have done a pretty darn good job of slowing them down. It looks like Cody is losing this on chaff clear at this point. Despite having the Fire Badgers and despite lighting the ground on fire, there's still just so much chaff on Sacco's board. They're in on the back line. It's just a matter of waiting for the Phoenix to show up and finish the job. Not quite enough to knock Cody out. He's going to be down to 381 hit points. Sacco takes Underground Threat. Gonna hit the back line unprotected back there. I am not sure how this one... Yeah, there's the Replicate. Exactly what he did last time we saw Acid. We talked about how the Replicate in Acid really heavily favors the Replicate Crawler player. And no, Cody knows that. Not sure if he's thinking around it right now. But we know that this is going to be Sako's response. We've seen it before. He's seen this map almost to a T. Cody is definitely working on chaff clear. Recognize that as the problem. Takes 3 more fire badgers. Also needs an answer here. Okay, the answer out here is going to be missile for the crawlers. That doesn't actually answer the fire badgers. Sako dropping oil on the back corner. You know what Cody has not done? He hasn't unlocked Cell to sell out of some of these sledges. I guess the sledges are doing a ton of work still. He's taken Elite Marksman to get some additional shots off with the Phoenix. Not taken Charged Shot, which would be... There it is. Takes Charged Shot. Gonna try to do the big punch damage. This is the situation in which you do want Charged Shot on a Phoenix. Dealing maximum damage to the War Factory in the minimum amount of time. Unfortunately, we've got that huge replicate crawl coming out of the back line. And that's just going to get both towers. And I think that is all she wrote for Cody. Had a great run of it. Ran into one of the all-time greats in the final. Did you say Sako was back? Wait a minute. It went down. The War Factories are down, but there is still enough damage to do lethal damage to Cody. Mualani defeated. Sako, 2,360 MMR, up to 147,000 combat power, and climbing, since he gets some more off of this game. GG's, well played, guys. That, I mean, Sako is running this. He ran it all through the tournament. As somebody said, the kind of bringing it to the devs' attention, perhaps, just how powerful the War Factory with buffs is right now. Might be a little bit overtuned. Is this a spot, maybe, where we should consider something that's between a cost of evenly divisible by 50? Maybe efficient maintenance is too efficient at reduced by 150, and not efficient enough at reduced by 100? Maybe it belongs at 125. It's possible. And yeah, it just has so much stats, right? Running it in a battle factory, I would love to see it in a more, tuned in a way that it doesn't fight as a giant so much. Cody says, I'm sure this can be countered. It just needs a better player than me. Right. Wonderboat, that would work too, right? Make it cost more than 50. So it's not quite so much of an obvious pick, if that's the intention. This War Factory, I mean, that's the genius of this outside positioning, right? Is that there is no way to get an instant lock on it. And we saw beam answers against it deep in front of towers getting deleted in other games, right? Where, you remember the Jeremiah game, he actually crushed right through it, as War Factory wasn't dying until it was over here, when it ran into the second beam from the other tower. So, yes, okay, CatSameU, you are correct. You can insta-lock it. It's just that the insta-lock unit is immediately vulnerable to the War Factory itself. And the War Factory has so much outbound damage. I mean, maybe the War Factory should just be a tank that doesn't do a huge amount of outbound damage. That would be the other way to handle it, right? Make it a really big sponge unit sort of thing. But, on the other hand, it's built to be the ogre, straight out of the old board game. Standing screen, and say goodnight to you guys. Congratulations to our champion, Sako. Well-deserved. Came through Boat Pile, Alpha, Armadillo, Apooche, Yuan Shin, and Mualani en route to the title. CodiFly, congratulations. 4th last week, 2nd this week. Building on championship in this tournament about 4 weeks ago. Neo, congratulations. 3rd place for Neo 750A. Sunnyside, GoDog rounding out the top 5. Evil Coin, ChatGPT Classic Post, huiberg, Mumbo Jumbo, and Etheric round out the top 10. There's a... You are welcome, guys. Appreciate everybody being here with me. We'll show 11 through 20 for those getting their names in lights for the first time. Congratulations, guys. Well played. And 21 through 30. Special shout out to CrossFit for dropping in order to make sure that the end game of this tournament was fair and even. Already had taken a top 3 finish and dropped at 4-0. Yeah, it's tough. We will spare, of course, the blushes of anybody 31st and lower. Congratulations to our winner, Sacco, to Mualani, to Neo with 750A, and of course to Play Archer earlier in the day, and our Asia tournament, I Like Napping. So congratulations, guys. Well played. And of course, be here next week for Weekend Tournaments 71. Thanks again, guys. Good luck. Thanks for watching.